Well, today we're here at Range Records with my good friend Neil Gallup, who owns Neil's Guitars, and Neil has something very unusual to show us today. Neil was commissioned by a guitar investor to look up the history of a unique guitar that he picked up on eBay. And I'm going to turn this over to Neil now, and he can tell us all about what he found and the history and the background and what investigations that he did, and the legitimacy of what you're about to see is pretty unbelievable. So take it over, Neil.
All right, thanks, Dan. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Just wanted to bring this guitar to the world. It's a private owner, this guitar, and I kind of knew what he was getting into when he purchased it, but wasn't 100% sure. He was into Les Paul. Aren't we all? Don't we all love Les and those guitars that he had something to do with? But so he wanted us to investigate the guitar to see its origin, see how closely it was connected to Les, and so he brought it to us to just get the historical significance and documentation on authenticity of it. So he brought it to us. It was kind of a mess. We called it a mummy case. We'll get to the case in a moment, but the case was completely covered with duct tape. Every speck of the case was covered with duct tape, ancient duct tape from 70s or something. When you took the tape off, it just exploded. So it was a mess.
And luckily it didn't take the finish of the case off.
No, we were lucky that the original Tolex was on there. There was something we speculated, as I said, we'll get to the case. There was something we speculated about the case because there were telltale signs that the guitar was a different era, different time than the case. We'll get all those things. And now, let's take out the guitar. And jumping around here, let's just tell you, this is a 1958 original finish white Les Paul custom. 3 were presented to Les Paul in 1958 by Gibson. They were only ones ever made in white at that decade, actually ever, because Les didn't like a black guitar with his black suits. He liked his guitar to stand out. He wore dark suits. He liked to have a nice white guitar. So hence the 3 white Les Paul customs. Well, we got the guitar, and as I said, to jump around again so you don't get all excited. There were no pickups, no electronics. Everything else on the guitar was as you see it. Also, except for one tuner which we located for our customer. This is an authentic 1950s Kluson waffle tuner, as they call it. The others are original. The guitar is completely intact. Some of the history of the guitar, I guess we'll say, as I uncovered some of the information from it in the research that I did, I thought it was a shame that the frets were ground down, practically no frets left. Further investigation, that's the way Les loved his frets. He liked no frets. Low frets, filed down to almost nothing. He didn't bend his strings, he used vibrato. Also used very heavy strings. Also, we noticed there was no binding, or actually wooden binding, if you want to say. And if you notice on the neck, very smoothly removed finish, except for at the body. Why would somebody need to remove it there? No need, just leave it there. Once again, smoothly removed finish from the binding. This is most speculation, but other research brings us to see that this is most probable. That the guitar was painted, or not painted, there were things done with the guitar. They gave them to Les. He had done some of the hacking that he normally did. One of the things they probably had binding on here. He told them, I don't like binding, no binding on my guitar. So they probably put wooden binding on there, which is fine because he likes the feel of wood. Then they painted over it, which kind of took away from the whole thing. So after he got the guitar back, they just removed some of the paint. He got the nice feel of the wood, which he liked. And we'll show you, I will show you some other Les Pauls that he had with the exact same scenario. No binding, no paint. So he also liked to, this is completely empty underneath here. He hacked away because he was constantly changing his pickups. The pickups that he used were low impedance pickups because they gave him the richest sound, the clearest sound, no hum. It's before humbuckers. He had started using them in the 40s approximately, maybe late 30s. He had toyed around with that. Also in his hacking, he had all these pick guards made for all his Les Pauls and such, and he mounted them on there. Les did not ever like to plug his guitars in on the side. We have surmised that some things were added after the guitar left Les's hands, that somebody drilled this hole in here, because this is always where Les plugged his guitars in. Also, we assume that this switch was added because this was just a volume for his microphone that he used. He used to have a microphone, and I'll show you some pictures of that in a second, just getting everything out there. These are the giant factory, we can't even figure out what was going on back here. We've seen the back of one of the other white ones, and this was not done, but this is factory finish. Nothing has ever been touched on this guitar. One of his other ones has this giant strange oval.
Do you think Gibson prepared that for Les so that he could tinker with it?
We are 100% sure that that was done because under here the ledges are factory finish. These are all nicely, as you can see, there's nicely cut and smooth edges and then painted finish. Underneath here, and I'll show you more documentation, hacked away with a hot screwdriver they used to use. Him and his buddy Wally, I can't remember his last name, used to hack away. They'd heat up a screwdriver and just hack away at the wood. So that's why all this horribleness is going on. He also didn't like stop tail pieces. You can see that they had plugged, pre-finished, they had plugged these holes. You can see the slight checking around the holes, also factory. And I have a picture of one of the other white Les Pauls where they cut off the frets. You can see the frets are missing. 2 frets are actually missing because he possibly wanted to have more room to clunker.
There's electronics in there or something.
So those are the basics.
About this little hole here,
okay.
This is pretty interesting.
All right, as you can see, there's all kinds of extra holes. There's a giant hole. We can't figure out exactly what every hole is for, but if you know Les, and we hope you do, he had his invention called a pulverizer. It was a big giant box that really, essentially, was just controls turning on and off his echoplexes and such. He made us to believe, not us, I wasn't around then, but he made everyone believe that he was actually controlling the echoplexes or whatever. They didn't know what magic was going on. You know, stay away from the man behind the curtain, because he had all his echoplexes behind the curtains. But all it did was turn on and off echoplexes so he could look like he was doing all these magical things with just this box. So the box got bolted onto several of his guitars. The hole, there might have been some direct connection to the pulverizer, which he called the box, but I'm not exactly sure. But I have pictures of other of his Les Pauls with this hole in here, which I can't figure out what it's for.